Welcome into Hand Raise Guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neal McCready in the Clark Ford Studios. I'll pay some bills here in a moment. Take your calls on the Campbell Clinic Hotline. Ole Miss and Auburn. I think Chase said 6:30 tonight. I'm not buying the Jamal Murray story. Nope. You're not getting me, Jamal. No, sir. Not getting my hopes up that Jamal Murray is going to miss a potential. No. Nope. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Do not believe it. There's my NBA commentary for the night. I believe the Dallas Mavericks thing was legitimate before I believe Jamal Murray misses tonight's game. No chance. No chance. All right, let me pay some bills here. Brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I've got the wrong file up. It's okay. See, I didn't even have to tell you guys that. You wouldn't have known. Different names, but the same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, you need to call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Memphis, Hernando, South Haven, Olive Branch, those areas, call Southern, 662-429-4429. I just walked outside to say hello to my wife. She was sitting on the patio. It's humid. It's hot. I went running this morning at 6:30. It was already like 68 degrees, and it was one of those days where you're like, yep, good idea that you ran now because it'd be too hot in the middle of the day. It also be too hot for your AC not to work. So now's the time. If that thing's acting funny, you need to get in touch with Comer and or Southern. Get them to your place. They'll take great care of you just like they have us here. Speaking of here, I'm in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you are looking for. He will send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There is no hassle. There is no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that is hop into a Clark Ford today. Again, 662-257-1900. We'll open up the Campbell Clinic Hotline momentarily. Guests join on the Campbell Clinic Hotline from fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions. The pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi, providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111. This will be the Friday Blue Sky Live. Blue Sky locations all over the state of Mississippi. Perfect place for you to go fill up your vehicle. Also, head in, fill up yourself. They got the ribs as we get ready for Memorial Day weekend here soon. Be a great idea, great way to make your Memorial Day much easier. Ribs, both wet and dry. Obviously, great beer selection and much, much more at Blue Skies all over Mississippi. As you get ready to drive, be looking for Blue Sky. So I'll open up the phone lines. I hope everything's working. I think I've got it set up to work. I hope I've got the right number listed. I think I do. Got all that stuff. So if anybody wants to call, feel free to call. Again, Ole Miss and Auburn. I want to say 6:30. I'm pretty sure it's 6:30. I asked Chase 2 hours ago, but we were talking about a lot of other things. So 6:30. And then if you are an NBA person like me, Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals is tonight in Denver. Hang on, caller. Let me get this to you. Hold on. They've changed the way this looks. Hold on. Let me get my glasses. Hold on. Let me make sure I got you connected. Hold tight. Okay, it says it's paired. Hold on. I apologize. I know this is bad, but they've changed the way this looks, and I don't have it. So I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to make sure I'm still connected. All right, I'm going to disconnect, and then I'm going to reconnect. All right, I'm going to disconnect. Now I'm going to reconnect. Disconnect here. And now I'm going to reconnect here. All right. All right, there you go. Sorry about that. Go for it. Who's this?
What's up, Neal? Tupelo.
Hey, Tupelo. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. There's no problem at all. I was going to say it works now.
Yeah, I had to, that when in doubt, disconnect and reconnect a couple times. And if there's a bigger problem, you'll know. But sometimes that just fixes things.
There's a lot of truth to that. Hey, are you guys closing this thing out tonight, or is this going to get really squirrely come Game 7?
I don't want anything to do with the Game 7, but it's the Denver Nuggets. They've outplayed the Thunder the last two games. The Thunder have won those two games by having more depth and playing really strong fourth quarters. Denver has looked tired in the fourth quarter of both games. The last two games, I should say. I actually, what's weird is that the two games that Denver has won, I thought the Thunder outplayed Denver and then just choked. And the last two games, I thought Denver outplayed Oklahoma City and the Thunder won because they were deeper. So obviously they're deeper. I don't believe the Jamal Murray thing. In a world where that's true and he's out, they're not deep enough to survive a full game. I mean, I think
that's true.
I think it's another really good game. The Thunder have played really well in the fourth quarters, which is the knock on this team. They didn't play a lot of close games during the season. They're young, and they have struggled to shoot the ball at times, though their shooting averages have started to kind of creep back up to normal. But Denver has Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. Those two guys, I don't know that people give them enough credit for how great they are. They are great players, and they were both incredible in Game 5. And I still to this minute am not exactly sure how the Thunder pulled that off.
Yeah, I put on the board earlier today that Jamal Murray is one of those players that when it comes playoff time, just something clicks. I mean, he may never make an all-star team, but if you put together an all-star NBA playoff type team, he's up there. I mean, he pretty much beat the Lakers, not by himself, but in the clutch moments last year.
Yep.
He was a big part of their doing of that. But what game did y'all – was it Game 1 or 2 that y'all lost? That was
the Thunder.
Or maybe Game 3. Which
Thunder had a 9-point lead in Game 1 and lost the game. And then and then they lost Game 3 in overtime. Kind of did not execute well down the stretch, and in both cases, Aaron Gordon made big shots. I mean the odds of Aaron Gordon making both of those shots one in Game 1 and one in Game 3 are not good. And if he misses one of them, this series is over. But he didn't. He made both of them. I mean, they're gamers, man. I mean, they're people forget they're 2 years removed from a championship. I know they've lost a little bit with Brown and some of the ancillary pieces, but the heart of their championship is still very much in place.
Yeah, and the only reason why they didn't make the final last year is arguably because the T-Wolves were just so hot in that particular time that it was just not meant to be. But I thought that the Thunder would win Game 1 and then I thought the Nuggets were going to win this last game. So, I mean, I guess it did even itself out a little. But you're right. Those Aaron Gordon shots were pretty insane. And the Nuggets, to me, are the epitome of a playoff roster where they really only have 8 guys that can really put up valuable playoff minutes. And it's like you said, Jamal Murray is out. I don't know how they can survive tonight.
They're thin right now. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is playing with a bad shoulder. I'm sure they're going to stick another needle in it today, but I mean, he's clearly not himself. They're having to lean heavily on Russell Westbrook. They're having to play Peyton Watson serious minutes. I mean, they're thin. They've been. That's part of it when you pay Murray what you're paying Murray, and Jokic is on a max deal, and their ownership doesn't want to go to the second apron and all of that stuff. But they're still very good, and you can see their playoff experience in this series.
Well, if I were you, and I'm sure you feel this way, if I were a Thunder fan, I just don't want a Game 7 where if Jokic just gets hot for 12 minutes, the season's over. Where he goes on some run.
Yeah, I don't want a Game 7. I mean, I want it to end. The Thunder are playing 2:30 on Sunday in Oklahoma City, one way or the other. I'm hoping it's Game 1 against Minnesota.
Oh, I didn't realize that schedule's like that.
Yeah, they will play Sunday at 2:30 in Oklahoma City, either Game 7 against Denver or Game 1 against Minnesota. That's set in stone.
Yeah, I want to touch on baseball in just a second, but I remember not too long ago, a few weeks ago on one of the shows, I mentioned my underrated team in the West and the East. I picked the Lakers in the West, which that didn't work out. But the East, you remember I said the Pacers.
Yep.
And I know they've had a little bit of fortune, but, I mean, they're right there in the mix, and we're kind of staring at a Knicks-Pacers Eastern Conference Finals. I'll tell you what will do great for the NBA ratings is a Thunder-Pacers NBA Finals. That'll really boost the numbers.
People at ABC will kill themselves. Well, look, I know Tatum's out. Boston's not dead yet.
No, they looked really good last night.
And, the Knicks are a fun story, but the Knicks have only played one good game in this series. They had a couple of really hot quarters, and Brunson's terrific. But the Knicks played one really good game so far. Indiana versus the Knicks would be a fun series. It'd be Halliburton and Brunson and all of that stuff. It'd be fun for those of us who follow the league. The ABC would love having the Knicks in the series with Madison Square Garden and all the fans and all of that, the celebrities, and I'm sure they could sell at ABC Knicks Thunder or Knicks Wolves. I'm sure that they are panicked about the prospect of Pacers Wolves or Pacers Thunder. I'm sure that, your national media would turn up its nose at the idea of having to rotate between Oklahoma City and Indianapolis. They're already throwing a fit about OKC already.
Yeah, and people wonder why the NBA in itself has such a discourse right now, and it's almost like this civil war going on. Right before the playoffs start, you had Stephen A. Smith saying, well, I hope the Lakers or Clippers make the finals so I don't have to go to OKC for 2 to 3 years. And I'm thinking to myself, do you understand what you're saying in this? I mean, I don't think you get it. Like, you're trying to be funny, but you're saying this on ESPN, which multiple games will be on ESPN or ABC. And you're basically saying, I don't want to go to the place they're paying me to go to cover a championship game. I think that's a bad message. But
the last time that the media converged on Oklahoma City for the finals was in 2012, and the city didn't have anywhere near enough hotels. Downtown was still very much in its resurgence, but it wasn't where it is today. It's a much different city. 13 years later, and Stephen A. Smith, who's frankly fortunate to have the job that he has and shouldn't say anything about anyone, but He will have
Yeah,
he'll have more dining and hotel options this time around. He'll be fine.
I wonder if that contract, if it wasn't so big, if he would be fired, because he's supposed to be the voice of the NBA for ESPN, and he's not doing a really good job of being the voice of the NBA media-wise.
No, well, I mean,
a lot.
not to stay on the NBA thing too long because people get irritated with it, but if the Thunder make the finals, it's a great story inside the league in a couple of ways. I know I'm a Thunder fan, blah blah blah, but that's not it. It's a great story for all small markets. And it's also a story that says if you take your time and build it the right way, patiently, you can do this. That's one of the reasons I almost hated to see Cleveland have the misfortune that it had, and then they ran into a hot team that kind of has dominated them all year in Indiana. But Cleveland did it the right way. Indiana's done it the right way. I mean, they do have Siakam, but for the most part, they're kind of homegrown. Oklahoma City's this team's homegrown. I mean, they turned Paul George and Russell Westbrook into picks. They traded for Shea. They used the 12th pick in the draft on Jalen Williams, who's emerged as an all-NBA caliber player. They didn't tank that many years, but they did tank once and got some lottery fortune and got Chet Holmgren. They turned Josh Giddey into Alex Caruso. Lou Dort was undrafted. Aaron Wiggins was a second-round pick. Cason Wallace was the 12th pick. I mean, they've done it the right way. They've got all these guys.
Yeah.
Every player on their roster is under contract for next season. I mean, there's a world where they get to defend their title if they won a title, and I'm getting way ahead of myself. But the point is that they would be a great story, and some of the people in NBA circles don't seem to get it because they don't want to get it.
They're the only team remaining in the West where the window is still just opening rather than slowly. The Nuggets are in a similar boat to the Celtics. I don't think people are talking about that as much as the Celtics. But the Nuggets are in a similar scenario. I mean, there's a world where there's a few of those pieces aren't there next year. But
yeah,
I will say last thing about the NBA, and I do want to talk about MLB. If the Thunder win, we're guaranteed. Well, assuming the Knicks win too. But anyway, there's a high percentage that we're going to see a player win their first ring this year, which is really cool to see. Mm-hmm. And there's a real world where the conference finals consist of 4 teams that their star player hasn't won a ring. So that'll be something to follow. That'll be pretty cool to watch. But so I want to talk about the MLB just for a second, and then I want to mention one thing about Ole Miss baseball, and I'm going to get off pretty quick. Hey, my Cardinals look pretty good, Neal.
I know they're winning a bunch of games. What have you won, 9 of 10? Is that right?
And they've won 9 out of 10, and they've now won 4 straight series, I believe, or 3 straight series, obviously, with the 9 wins. But it wasn't just against some no-name teams. We did beat the Pirates, but we also beat the Mets, the Phillies twice. So things are looking good.
Yeah.
And look, there's not a doubt in my mind that these young players do have what it takes to sneak into the playoffs. My concern is that we'll be such a fringe team at the trade deadline, and I wonder what we'll do with Nolan Arenado. I don't know if we'll trade him. I don't know. It kind of bugs me when I watch the team play because they are much better with him. But if they get to the trade deadline and they're 4 games out from the wild card, I don't know if he wants to stay. And that can get weird again and maybe throw off some chemistry. But, hey, I mean, it's fun watching the young guys play. And here's the thing. I think as of right now, and I don't know if this is too crazy to say, if someone offered me and you even the Cubs and the Cardinals versus the rest of the NL Central to win the division, I think we're both taking the Cubs and the Cardinals and just banking on one of those to win one more game than everybody else.
Yeah, I think
because
so. Yeah,
when I watch the Brewers,
because that's an easy pick because you would be Cubs and Cardinals combined versus Brewers Reds combined because obviously the Pirates aren't winning the division, and
no,
and I'm not sold on either of the other 2 teams either, Cincinnati or Milwaukee.
No, And this is a cool stat I wrote down. I was listening to Bernie Michaela's show earlier, and obviously this number will fluctuate just based on the remaining games and stuff. But as of right now, the Cardinals are 11-8 against teams above 500, which, I mean, that's all you can ask for is to be above average against the good teams or the other above average teams. And you told me last week or a couple weeks ago to not worry about this the road issues when they were playing on the road. Like they were like 2-14 at one time. Well, now they've won like 7 out of their last 9 on the road. So they've been playing really good baseball. So I'm pretty excited about the next few weeks. And we're about a third of the way through the season, and that's a big enough sample size to start making some predictions. But obviously, there's not really been any injuries to the Cardinals, so we'll just have to see. But it's a lot better to make a prediction now, a lot easier than it was 2 weeks ago. And as of right now, they would probably be the last wild card team, and that's a successful season if that pans out that way. But
absolutely.
But anyway, all right, Neal. Well, look, the Fire Me Mike Bianco crowd is a little weird. I'll say that. Look, the bunt try last weekend, I get, and I think you said you didn't agree with it. I initially agreed with it. I was like, just bunt it and see what happens. But then I realized it's a lefty hitter, and you might as well just try to pull something to the right side and see what happens. But
I'm just anti-bunt in general. It had nothing to do with Mike or strategy. I'm anti-bunt. I don't. My team. If I managed a team, my team would probably never bunt.
No, I definitely understand. I just don't. I guess I don't see the Fire Mike Bianco crowd. Like I don't understand that scenario. I mean, I think this team's good. I think they're a good baseball team. I just think that they won some close games early, and they didn't know that Florida was going to be that bad, and it's kind of just catching up with them. And I mean, they're fine. I think they'll probably win the regional because they're going to play 3 teams that's not as good as most of the teams they've played in the SEC, and so I just have to see what happens. But I think this team's good. Am I wrong for saying that? Like I just think they're a good team.
You're not wrong. No, they're a good team in a really good league with a bunch of good teams. I mean, there's not a lot of they're 8th, 9th place right now, which is right in the middle of the league, and they're like a game ahead of some teams and a game behind some teams. And I mean, they're just kind of bunched up in this middle pack. They're only 3 games behind LSU. I mean, the league's good. The league has 2 clearly bad teams, and it has a handful of teams in a bunch that are, frankly, all sort of the same team. And when they play each other, you get weird results. And even the teams at the top, like Texas and Arkansas and LSU, I don't think those teams are worlds better than the teams in the middle. I just think they're a little deeper, perhaps.
Yeah. But I think the odds of us winning the a regional, depending on where we go, isn't high. But it's not going to be like an impossible task. To get to a super regional.
No, it's not. Not impossible at all. I mean, look, I said this the other day in 10 Thoughts. You could tell me that Ole Miss gets bounced from a regional because they just, at the end of the day, they just don't hit it enough, or they don't have enough bullpen arms to get through a 4th game. Sure. You could tell me this team got to Omaha, and I would probably say, well, they caught a good break in a regional, and they ended up playing a non-SEC team in a super and got there. I'd buy either scenario. There's a lot of variance that I would agree with.
If I told you that the number set at 5.5 for SEC teams in Omaha, are you taking the over?
I'd have to see the bracket and how they do it. On surface, I'd probably go under. That feels like a big number. I mean, I could go 5 and still get the under. So yeah, I'd go under. I don't think they get 6 teams in Omaha. That feels strong, and I think they'll do some stuff where they match up SEC teams in super regionals, which I hate. I think it sucks when they do it, but I think they'll do a lot of that stuff to prevent. They'll send Ole Miss to Mississippi State, or I mean, Ole Miss to LSU.
Oh boy.
I mean, I said Ole Miss to LSU or Mississippi State to Arkansas or Florida to Arkansas or Florida to Georgia. They're gonna do some goofy stuff like that to get some eliminations.
Yeah. Hey, I'll let you go. I see Hayden's comment in here. He's asking what I feel about Chip Carey.
Yeah.
I think Chip Carey's fine. He's fine. I do get annoyed when the game's like 6-5 in the seventh, and he starts talking about like homemade pancakes and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's fine when it's a blowout, but please stop.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, Neal, take it easy, man. Have a good night.
Buddy.
Go Cardinals.
Bye. Appreciate that call, Tupelo. Yeah, I haven't even looked at. I know Chase has gone through it a couple of times, but I can't. Don't ask me questions on this. That don't be ridiculous. It's just so weird how this is doing this. Just hang tight. I'm gonna get to you. Hold on. I'm trying to. There's the Bluetooth. Hey, who do we have? Hey, who do we have?
Hello?
Hey, who do we have?
This is Greg. Greg from Ohio.
Hey, Greg. What's up, man? Hey, Greg.
Doing pretty good.
Hey,
Just
Greg.
driving home from work.
Yeah, just talk to your phone. Turn your radio or whatever off. That way you'll eliminate the delay.
Oh. Yeah, let me turn that all the way down.
There you go.
I thought I had it off.
That's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I was just calling in because I know that you're a Thunder fan and all that.
Yep.
And I am a 27-year going strong Spurs fan. And I had a couple questions for you, and I'll hop off when I ask them. Who do you think the Spurs are going to draft if they draft with that number 2? And my second question is, will they trade for Giannis, and what would it involve? And I'll hop off and let you answer.
Okay. They're going to take Dylan Harper with the second pick. They're going to use the pick. They should use the pick. They should absolutely not rush the process. I'm gonna get this call queued up and then I'll answer. All right, caller, hang tight real quick. I'm gonna finish answering the other question, then I'll get to you. I would not trade for Giannis. I don't think they'll trade for Giannis. Giannis is 31 years old. He's a great player. He's one of the 3 or 4 best players in the NBA. But you've got Victor Wembanyama. You're building around him. You've got Stephen Castle, who's a terrific player, just got Rookie of the Year. You just traded for De'Aaron Fox on a deal that you could trade if it doesn't work out. You could build around him if it does. You've got Sohan. You've got so many good players, young players on that team. You don't want to rush it, my opinion. With Wembanyama, you're probably a year or 2 away from contention as it is. If you bring Giannis in, you're going to stifle Wembanyama's development. Giannis wants the ball. He's ball dominant. He's a big. He doesn't shoot it particularly well. He's going to mess up a lot of guys on that team. I don't think he wants to go to the West. And this idea that he'll just go anywhere, I don't buy it. I think I ultimately think he stays in Milwaukee or they move him to another Eastern team where they can get some assets. But it would take a lot if you're San Antonio. You'd have to trade some of the people that I just named. If you're the Bucks, you would not do that deal without getting the second pick, and you'd insist on Castle. And that's more than the Spurs should do right now. Hey, caller, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim, what's up, man?
Hey, I was catching you, Jeffrey, and Chase's conversation on the way home, and I'm going to ask this question and hang up and just let you talk. But can you just give us a 5-minute synopsis of the Mike Price situation and what led you to the place in Pensacola? I need to hear you tell the story, man.
Stay with me because if you hang up, it's going to start ringing, and then how did I come across the story?
Yeah, and then what steps led you to go to that establishment?
Well, a tip. Right, I was doing a show with Taylor Zarzer back in the day on WNSP, and we were literally getting ready to go on the air, and I got a tip that I needed to look into Mike Price's activities in Pensacola at the golf tournament that was actually going on that day. And I asked specifically what they were what they were talking about, and they told me some things. And to be honest, my initial thought was no way. And then I got another call about it during the show, and I started working on the story. And the more that I worked on the story, the more that it became obvious that something had happened in Pensacola involving strip clubs, and one of the performers, maybe more than one of the performers, had gone back to his room, and there was a deal with his credit card, and something embarrassing had happened at the hotel. And of course, we started working on it, and the more that we worked on it, the more that it became pretty obvious that I needed to go to Pensacola. And so I went to Pensacola, which is only an hour, if that, from Mobile. And I went to Pensacola. I went to the hotel, and I was just pretending to be a guest. I actually checked into the hotel, got a room, and went down to the bar and talked to the bartender. And he told me some stuff. And then I found like one of the hotel workers, and he told me some stuff. And ultimately, I talked to some of the staff who confirmed a lot of the rumors that I'd heard. And I said, well, where did the person come from? And they said they thought it was Sammy's, which was a gentleman's club there in Pensacola. And so I went to Sammy's and talked to several performers, at which point I started learning that a stripper will tell you anything. They will lie to you. They will tell you anything. And but you have to, they won't spend time talking to you unless you're paying them money. And so I was doing that awkward thing where this ended up being like 3 nights in a row that I went to strip clubs in Pensacola. Ultimately, someone told me I was at the wrong club, that I needed to go to Arides. And Arides was kind of a biker bar. Pensacola was, Sammy's, I'm not a big strip club guy, but if I were, Sammy's would be more my speed than Arides. I went to Arides and I did not fit in at all. And I was looking for a performer named Destiny. And I don't think that was her God-given name, her parents' given name, but her name was Destiny. Destiny Stahl was her name. And I found Destiny, and Destiny was worried about me. At one point, she said, people are kind of onto you. You need to be careful. And so she told me some stuff. She kind of confirmed some things. I couldn't take notes, you know what I mean? And so I was like trying to remember everything. It was a lot of intensity. It's funny now, but at the time it was pretty intense. And I got back to the news. I got back to the newspaper, and we started putting the story together. And the one thing that I really remember was we finally got Price on the phone and giving him an opportunity to confirm, deny, tell his side of the story. And the one thing he said was that if we wrote that about Sammy's, that he would sue. And it was the one part of the whole story that I did not feel good about. I remember the paper was like wanting to run with everything because, man, the first draft was salacious as hell. I didn't feel good about the Sammy's part. I really didn't. I was like, man, I think that girl would have told me anything. And the paper was like, well, you can't pay for news. And I'm like, you guys don't get it. If I don't give her money, she's not going to keep talking to me, and they're going to throw me out. And so, I'm giving her money, but I'm giving her money to because I asked the girl, I'm like, what do I have to do to get you to stay here and keep talking to me? She goes, you need to pay for lap dances. And I said, cool, but I don't really want all that. And she's like, I've got it. She goes, if I just sit here and talk to you, they're going to know something's up. And I was like, okay. And so she was like doing dance. It was crazy, man. I mean, she's doing the dance thing and you know, taking off her top and all that stuff, and like just right in my face. And I'm probably the first customer and probably the last customer she ever had who is making eye contact. I mean, I'm talking to her because I've got to remember what she says. I'm not taking notes, so it's loud in there. There's music, and so I'm not only like trying to like look at her eyes, like, are you lying to me? Are you being truthful? But I'm also kind of reading her lips a little bit. You know what I mean? And you know, reading her mouth and trying to figure out, am I missing a word here and there? And I realized that people are making a lip joke, the higher lips. But it was crazy, and ultimately they wanted to send me they wanted to send me back. I went back another night, and I took one of my radio producers from WNSP because he desperately wanted to go, and he was kind of a big guy. And he even came up to me that night, and he goes, we got to get out of here. I'm like, yes. And they wanted to send me back another night, and I refused. I told them I would quit before I went back. Grind, thank you for the super chat. He says, what did Laura think of the lap? She didn't care. She knew it was a big story. And at that time in my career, I was breaking a lot of stories. I was like on top of my game as a reporter. And I think she thought this was going to be a story that was going to lead to like national awards and job offers. And it did. I won a national award along with Tom Murphy, who now works for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. We won a national investigative award for that story, and it did absolutely lead to job offers. But the funniest part of the strip stuff was when I turned in my expense report. Everything was cash. There was no credit card. And so they had to believe me, and I was putting down like $10 lap dance. And the women in accounting at the Mobile Register were gathered around my expense report, laughing. You could hear them throughout the newsroom. It was a funny time that they were howling at it just because I was putting like $1, $10, and I was explaining on the side. $1 was just to get her attention while she was up there, to get her to come to me. And then $10 was for the dances and stuff. And it was pretty funny. There were some really buttoned down people at that newspaper who had all sorts of ethical problems. And I was sick of the story by the time it ran. And I was sick of listening. I mean, I spent, I'd guess 4 or 5 nights of my life in the newsroom till 10, 11 o'clock at night with editors and lawyers and all sorts of crap. It was wild.
That's awesome. I know you said you will never write a book, but that is a book idea that you would 100% just kill it with if you ever decide to.
Yeah, it would be a lot of work, and you'd have to go back and find a lot of people. And that was God almighty. I mean, that was a long time ago. I mean, that was 21 years ago. I mean, I don't even know how you'd find all those people now. And that the idea that you're probably right, that probably should have been a book, but that has probably sailed.
Well, thanks for taking my call, man. I love Rebel Grove. Y'all keep killing it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, that was interesting story in my career, the Mike Price story. It was crazy. It was every bit as crazy as I probably don't remember how crazy it was. Would I consider the Mike Price story as muckraking? It's a good question. I don't know that I would consider it muckraking. It's a good question though, Grind. It wasn't a necessary story. It absolutely cost him his job. But he used a university issued credit card. He lied to his superiors about it. It's a gray area probably, but it's also one of those stories that if I had not followed up on it and then somebody else had written it, the paper would have been livid with me. I mean, our job was to sell newspapers, and it sold newspapers. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Neal, it's Austin.
Hey, Austin, what's up, man?
So, first off, nothing I'm about to ask you is going to be even remotely as interesting as the story you just got done telling. I'm just going to be honest.
Probably a good thing.
I've been listening to the show now for probably. I've been listening to the show now for probably close to 3 years, and I've always wanted to hear that story, and I just heard it for the first time, so that was worth it. So I'm sorry, I'm just a little flustered because I can't get over how great that was. But in all seriousness, the question I wanted to ask you, you and Chase were talking on the show yesterday about the weird ESPN thing where they were paying people excuse me, they were asking people to pay like $30 extra for a sports bundle.
Yeah.
If you remember that conversation.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking. I saw where I think it was Whitlock or somebody. I think it was Whitlock said if you looked at just the NFL, for example, how spread out it is. Like if you wanted to watch every single snap of the NFL this year, in order to watch every snap of play this upcoming season, you'll have to spend like $1,500 in total for every single minute of streaming service that you'd have to pay to watch it. And my question is this, and you brought up a good point, and I wanted to ask you this. The younger generation, and I count myself as one of them, a lot of them don't watch sports the same way the previous generation did. And with all this money going into like media rights for different leagues, at what point do you see the money start to dry up? Because like,
hey man,
I'm seeing these
Austin, if I had the answer to that question, if I had the answer to that question, no offense to you or anybody else, but I would be so wealthy right now because could go be a consultant to all of these leagues and stuff, and they would literally pay me any number I charged for that insight. I don't know. It's the question that everybody in every professional league, NFL, MLB, Major League, NBA, college sports, everybody wants to know this answer. SEC, Big Ten, everybody wants to know this answer. Believe me, Fox wants to know this answer. ESPN wants to know this answer. NBC wants to know that. Everyone wants to know that answer. You're right. Young people consume media in general, and including sports, differently than their parents. I see that with my son, who's a pretty big sports fan, and he consumes sports differently, much differently than I did when I was 18. Hell, he consumes sports differently than probably a person who's 15 years older than him, right? Who, isn't old enough to be his dad. That it's changed dramatically, but it's still king and it still commands a huge price. And it's really the only live TV that anyone watches, young or old, anymore. I mean, we talked about this on the show, right? Nobody really, and nobody's obviously a hyperbolic term because there are people who do, but there aren't tons of people watching network television the way that they did when I was a kid, or the way that I did even when I was in college or in my late 20s, early 30s. It's changed that much in a fairly short amount of time. So, 20 years from now, what does sports consumption look like? I just don't think anybody has the answer. I'll give ESPN credit on this $30 thing. They're basically admitting out loud that this is an experiment.
Right. I agree.
I mean, I give them credit for that.
I will say this. there are so many people that I view football and baseball kind of one and the same in this regard. Like as the sports viewership changes, so many people within the age range of like pretty much from the ages of like 13 to like 30 or anywhere in that range, your attention span is about the same as a goldfish. It just doesn't exist. And with football and baseball in particular, with both of those sports having such long consumption time rates, like it just eats up so much of your time. Like so many, like I don't know if you how well you know this, but if you condense, like if you go on YouTube right now, like you were talking about the great 2023 football game between Ole Miss and LSU years ago.
Yeah.
You were talking about that earlier this week.
Yeah.
The viewership, the viewership on a 13-minute video from that game that's been condensed down to 13 minutes and nothing but highlights has almost as many views as the full game does.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know.
Like the MLB has.
And my thing is this.
Not to interrupt, but have you noticed MLB does this on their app? They have, because the other night I was watching the Thunder and I didn't watch the Cubs, and they apparently had a dramatic comeback. And the next morning I just watched the condensed game. It's like 9 minutes. I basically saw the game. That's kind of what young people do. They do a lot of that with NBA games too. Like they just watch the condensed game and they keep up with highlights, and they don't sit and watch 2.5 hours. And it's the reason that college football knows they've got to figure out how to shorten games, right? 4 hours is too long, and the TV people tell them that. And there's an emphasis to, hey, we've got to shorten these games. We've got to shorten these games. And older people go, well, I'm here for the damn game. I don't care if it's another 30 minutes. It's like, it's not about you. It's about the people watching on screens.
And then the TV people go and add another minute of TV timeout.
Yeah, I know. And
then
it's because they can make an extra buck. They if you ask the TV people, would you like more ads and less football? The answer is yes.
It's true. And I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, it feels like we're monetizing everything for a sports fan. Like it costs more to be a sports fan today than it has ever cost ever in the history of being a sports fan, period.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what sport you enjoy. You're especially in the college ranks when you're just being asked to give and give and give and give and give. And I think you're slowly reaching a place of apathy in a lot of people, where they're just, because I saw the Clay Travis poll about it, where it said like 90-something% of people said they wouldn't pay for this. I think you're starting to see. I think I got to give you credit. As long as I've been listening to you, you've been saying it for the 3 years I've been listening to you. You said eventually people will start to slowly care as much. I'm seeing it in real time, and that's something that I think we got to be really careful with. What say you?
Oh, I go back and forth on it. Every logical piece of my brain, or what's left of it, tells me that this is not a sustainable model. That it's only going to be there. You make something professional sports, and it's absolutely professional sports. Professional sports succeed because they have guardrails, and there are paths out of despair. There's ways out of losing. There's paths to contention. If you make the college game about nothing but money, ultimately the only people that are going to compete are going to be the people that have all the money. And if you keep hitting people up for money, at some point people say, what am I getting for this money? You can't just keep raising the prices on everything. Okay, well, we're gonna raise ticket prices. Why? Because we're having to pay players more money. Okay, fine. We're gonna raise tailgating prices. Why? Because we have to pay players more money. Okay, fine. All right, now we're raising season ticket prices. Okay, why? Well, you know why. you can't keep doing that, and then the product on the field stays the same or deteriorates. And when it deteriorates, you say, well, why is my team not as competitive? Well, because we have less money. In the NFL, you can be the worst team in the NFL, but you get the first pick. You get hope. There's hope. You have a last place season. Next season, you play a last place schedule. They bake some wins in. You get a draft. There's salary stuff. Maybe you go out and add a free agent. Maybe you hit the bonanza on a draft pick. You know, Buffalo gets Josh Allen, and next thing you know, Buffalo's pretty damn good, right? And
right.
When you there's none of that in college. There's no draft. And you're asking fans for more and more and more. And like you said, everything's expensive. Hotels are expensive. Airbnbs are expensive. Now tickets are expensive. Restaurants are expensive. Everything's expensive. And you're just asking people for more and more and more. And when they say, what am I getting for this? The same thing you always got. I don't know that works. It only, but this is where I might be wrong. People, thank God, because I make a living off of it. People really love their alma maters. And maybe they love their alma maters more than they could ever love a pro team. And so they just do it because they love it. And look, you know this. Like, we'll use Ole Miss as the example. I mean, most 90-something% of the people listening to this are Ole Miss people. Not everybody who comes up here in the fall is really coming for the football game. There's a lot of people, and this isn't a knock. It's just the truth. This would apply to Auburn or Tennessee or anywhere else. A lot of people are coming up because that's where they see their family. They see their friends. They have fond memories. They have a restaurant that they like, a bar that they like. They like doing the Grove. Whatever the case may be. The football's an excuse to come to the game. And sure, they'd love for the Rebels to win, but like, whatevs, right? They'll be okay. Most people who go to pro games are there for the game.
Right.
And there's a difference. So college has that going for it.
I mean, I'll say this as an Ole Miss fan and as an Ole Miss graduate, I can say confidently that I have seen tons of my friends who used to care about it as much as I do, and as much as I did, that slowly just stopped caring because, and keep in mind, you know, we're relatively fortunate here at Ole Miss where, you know, we've actually kind of had arguably one of the best periods of athletics we've had top to bottom ever in the last year. I mean, this, and for whatever reason, they're just not caring as much because they're just slowly falling out. They're just being priced out of it. And by the way, if that's happening here, you know it's happening at places like Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn.
Of course. Oh, and there's a lot. Look, you know, I mean, I can say I was just at Arkansas recently and talked to a couple of people. There was a guy that was sitting next to me at the honors program thing that we were waiting for that to start, and he's from Texas, and he has a couple of kids that one was graduating from Arkansas and one was still there, and he said he wasn't renewing his season tickets, and I was like, why? And he goes, expensive. And I was like, yeah, I get it. And I was like, he's from Texas, and he goes, it's expensive to come up here all the time for the tickets, and they want more, and blah blah blah, and you know, and he's like, we're not winning. And I was like, yeah, I get it. I mean, I understood where he was coming from. I mean, super nice guy, and he was like, the seats aren't as comfortable. They're cramming people in. They're raising prices. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably happening at a lot of places. I don't know. I mean, I don't go to too many games as a quote fan, end quotes. I don't really have that experience, but I've used the Arkansas LSU game last season in Fayetteville as an example. When my girls told me, yeah, we only got you to buy the tickets because we thought you'd want to go. And I was like, no, I would have much rather gone to the bar, and it was expensive. Mm-hmm. It was expensive to go up there I got a taste of it, right? I went up for Caroline's sorority thing. And so I stayed at a hotel 2 nights, and I bought 5 tickets. And I mean, the tickets were fine. They were decent seats. They weren't anything luxurious. And we went to the concession stands once. It was hard to get to the concession stands. It was crowded and it was hard to get through. And I was crammed into my seat. And the TV timeouts take 4 minutes. And it was probably, I don't know, probably ended up dropping $1,500. And I was thinking, man, yeah. And so if pick your school, I mean, whatever, it's all the same. I mean, you do that 6-7 times a year. It's a hell of a commitment financially.
I know I've been on a long time, and I'm about to get off after this because I wanted to. I've got one last thing I want to say after this, real quick, and I'll be brief because I want to let other people call. But you're so right, because me, for example, I try my hardest to go to every single home football game. I try my best to go to as many home basketball and baseball games as I can. It's more convenient for me because I'm a local. I'm literally about 30 minutes from school. And if I can afford to do it, I'll do it. But I know that so many of my friends and so many people that used to do exactly what I do now, I mean, that I live in a close proximity to, just straight up don't do it because either they've been priced out of it or they don't feel the same emotional attachment. And this is a winning school.
Yeah.
So if it's like this here,
how
bad is it somewhere else?
Oh, it's bad. There's someone in the thread saying Kentucky's basically having to give football season tickets away. They're not winning. They just went 1-7 in the league. And then you bring players in, right? And this is the part that's, I think, the dangerous part. I've thought this for a while, and I've been pretty consistent on this. And if I end up being wrong, thank God. I want to be wrong. If you don't know who the players are, like that's one of the things about the NFL, right? Is if you're a Bengals fan, I mean, you're cheering for Burrow and Chase and Higgins and guys that have been out there for a while. You can buy little Johnny a jersey, and a Burrow jersey, and odds are he's going to outgrow the jersey because Burrow's still going to be there.
Right.
I mean, like Ole Miss was really blessed this last year to have a whole bunch of transfers who were here multiple years. There's programs all over the country that are just cycling 1-year players in and out. And
there's not a lot of Jack Arts anymore.
No, I mean, I don't know how you build like the Nico thing at Tennessee. Everybody like made fun of it and laughed about it. And there was a little part of me that I didn't ever say this on the show because I didn't want to come across as sappy or whatever, but doesn't that kind of suck for the 10-year-old Tennessee fan? I mean, doesn't it kind of suck?
Yes.
I mean, doesn't it kind of suck? He got super excited about this.
I don't want to cut you off, but to show you how right you are, I have a friend of mine who last season, before Quinshon Judkins transferred, texted me because he knew I was more informed with the team than he was. Said, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying somebody I know a Quinshon jersey for the Rebels. Should I do it?" And I told him no, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Why? He's our running back." And literally 3 weeks later, he's on Ohio State.
Yeah, we had an advertiser wanting to launch a campaign about Quinshon, and I was like, "You don't want to do that. You don't want to do it." And I mean, yeah, it's crazy, right? And if you're a 12-year-old Ole Miss fan who just watched Quinshon carry the ball 34 times in the Peach Bowl, and then suddenly he's gone, not to the NFL where you can now cheer for him, but to Ohio State, how do you explain that to a kid? And I just kind of wonder. I do wonder what the residual, if any, and there could be none, right? But I do wonder, like, what does that do to his fandom? I mean, I've told this story. I grew up in Ruston, Louisiana, and I remember when Louisiana Tech had a quarterback named Matt Dunnigan. He went on to play in the Canadian Football League for a while, but he was Tech's quarterback for like 3 years. Everybody in Ruston, all the kids, we knew Matt Dunnigan. Matt Dunnigan was a celebrity in Ruston. I know it's not the same thing by scale, but imagine how big of a celebrity Nico Iamaleava was to kids in East Tennessee. And he leaves after essentially 1 year. it's bizarre. I wonder how sustainable that part is for fandom. Like, Carson would not be anywhere near the Thunder fan he is today if there was a chance that at the end of this season, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander could just bolt to the Knicks. Wouldn't be.
I just think they have to regulate the sport somehow.
Well, they do, and they
how.
know it. They just don't know how to do it. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows it. They know they have to. I mean, everything Saban said, everything Charles Barkley said this week, it's right. There's no pushing back on it. I mean, Saban's right. When everyone keeps calling it NIL, it's not NIL. It's pay for play. And pay for play means salary, which means you're professional, and professional sports require collective bargaining agreements for stability. They just do.
Ole Miss fans will look back one day and realize how blessed they were that Jackson Dart was our quarterback as long as he was in this day and age.
Yeah, and blessed that he comes from the kind of background that he did. They're blessed that, frankly, that when Lane did the Spencer Sanders shenanigans, the one-time transfer thing was still in effect, because I think the Darts were pretty pissed off in that moment. And then, blessed that Jackson's the kind of kid that he is, and that Lane figured out pretty quickly that, nope, this kid's special, and Ole Miss is a special place, and Oxford's a special place, and the kid fell in love with it, and there was a lot there. But yeah, there's, the odds of that kind of story repeating itself over and over are not great in this system. I mean, because now, right, he could have had that sophomore season, and someone could have just come in and gone, here's $5 million. And peace. I mean, that's, and then what? So that's the part of that. Like the kid at South Alabama, that if you're a South Alabama fan, Gio Lopez leaving to go to North Carolina has to be disheartening. And I'm glad for Gio Lopez. I'm happy for him. I'm sure he's getting paid handsomely in North Carolina, but there is a part of me that feels pretty bad for the South Alabama fan.
Oh, same, absolutely. And I'll leave you with this, and I'll hang up and let you answer this question. It's totally off topic from what we're talking about, but I had a pretty heated discussion with somebody about this. Not heated, it went places. When they announced the start time for the Egg Bowl, I made my thoughts known to some people close to me, where I said, I just wish we didn't play the Egg Bowl last week of the year every year.
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to me, we'd play LSU in the last game of the year. I know I'm in the minority here. I really don't think one way or another about Mississippi State. Even when they were good and we were bad, I always viewed the Egg Bowl as kind of more of a nuisance than anything. It's like, if you win it, you're supposed to beat them. And if you lose them, you never hear the end of it. It's almost like it doesn't benefit us at all outside of just in-state recruiting, which I'm not saying is nothing. But I'll leave you with this. Since LSU doesn't have a big end-of-year rivalry and really never has, and since we pretty much are their second biggest rivalry behind Alabama, wouldn't it make more sense just to play that game there? And with that, I'll let you go.
Okay.
Keep having a good one, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be cool. Be a great – that rivalry, Ole Miss LSU, produces a lot of great games. It's a lot of fun. I think both fan bases, as much as they like to talk about hating each other, I think they both really enjoy the game. Ole Miss people like going down there. LSU people like coming up here. I think they tried to make LSU Texas A&M a rivalry, but now Texas is in the league. Hey, caller, who do we have?
What's up, Neal? It's Vibin.
What's up, Vibin? How are you? What do you think? You think Ole Miss LSU should be the end of the season game?
Well, I feel like you already know my opinion on where I put LSU as a rival. I mean, ironically, I'm back home in Picayune, which is all of 5 to 10 minutes from the Louisiana border.
Yep.
So I don't know if I've ever explained this. I'm sure I've said it on the board before. there were already a lot of LSU fans growing up in Pearl River County, and then Katrina happened. And, I mean,
yeah, I bet.
Yeah. It turned into Chalmette East. Yeah. So, I mean, no, and I'm respectful to, because, you know, there's not, compared to other parts of the state, there's not a lot of Ole Miss alum, you know, from the coast. But I feel like if you're from south of Hattiesburg, the LSU game just means more. I mean, so to put in perspective, my dad grew up going to go watch Archie, you know, play against LSU, you know, and like I remember when Eli beat LSU, I think in Baton Rouge one year, that was like a big deal for my dad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, he doesn't like state, but it's just like, it's just state. Like they're a pain in the ass. Like it is what it is. But, which I think since when Saban got to LSU and kind of showed them a formula, how to win big in football, that's kind of how they view us. Cause then Saban went to Alabama a few years later and that became a huge thing. But no, I don't know. The LSU game's weird, man. I went to Baton Rouge for the first time this past season and I had a blast.
Yeah. It's a great place to go to. A great place to go to a game. I mean, it's nuts.
Tailgating for it was awesome. Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. I mean, I've had some weird experiences in their media, but it's still a cool place to go to a game. I mean, it's one of those places, and I get why people don't like it, and they're crazy, rude and stuff, but it's one of the handful of places in sports that when you walk into the building, you can kind of feel it. It's got its own, like, that place is alive. It's hard to explain it. I'm not an I grew up in Louisiana, but I was never an LSU fan. Had a grandfather who was a LSU fan, but he died when I was very little boy. Both of my parents went to had graduate degrees from Alabama. I grew up an Alabama fan. I was never an LSU fan. My first game at Tiger Stadium was I was in high school, and my dad took me to see Alabama, and Alabama won, and we cheered for Alabama, and it was fun. But I remember from that point forward how cool that place was. I think it's a cool stadium. It's one of those places where people say, hey, if I want to go to one college football game in the South, where should it be? I always say LSU.
No, I mean, I get it. So, I mean, you were at the game covering it this past year, right?
You
were in the press box.
I was there.
I didn't realize, I think this past season was like the 100-year anniversary of either the football program or it was something crazy. And then you remember they blacked out the lights and they had those glow-up wristbands that the student section proceeded to throw at Trey Harris after he caught that touchdown. And I just remember looking at my two buddies they're both from Louisiana, moved here after Katrina. And I was like, if this game's a one-score game going into the fourth, I know how this ends. Like, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, their fans impacted that game. But in much the same way, in fairness, that the Ole Miss fans impacted that Dart Jaden Daniels game. I thought the Ole Miss fans impacted that game. I really did.
It's funny now. I'm finally starting to look at the SEC schedule and like what the first month looks like for every team. That Ole Miss LSU game at the end of September has the chance to be similar, probably even a crazier environment than the one 2 years ago when we beat them. I mean, it's not going to be the big primetime game because I think Alabama and Georgia play that day, so that's going to be your night game, or at least one of them. But I'm hoping I would think LSU Ole Miss this year, if they're both undefeated, would be at night too. It would just be on one of the ABC channels. I don't know how.
I don't know if they're both undefeated. That's and Alabama Georgia's your primetime game. That's got that 2:30 national spot written all over it.
Yeah, which I mean that wouldn't be. It's just going to be hot as balls, man.
It will. September in the South is always hot as balls. That was hot as balls, and it was hot last year in Baton Rouge.
It was. Yeah,
it was really hot. I remember walking to the stadium from the press area. The press parking was over there where I think either their volleyball or their soccer complex is. It's a pretty good walk, and it was hot. It was really hot.
Well, the one thing I didn't get to do is I wanted to go see Mike the Tiger, and we ended up meeting my buddy's uncle who has season tickets for LSU games. I can't remember what the name of their basketball arena is, but we met him and
Pete
got
Maravich
to hang out with
Center.
him and his. Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, we met him, hung out for a little bit, and I told him, I was like, dude, I just want to go back under the tent and sit for a while. Like, I mean, next time we go, I'll see the damn Tiger. Like, I'm drunk, I'm hot, it's humid.
The Tiger's cool though. I'll tell you that. You do want to go see the Tiger. It's pretty badass.
Just wait till we bring the black bear back and get like an actual black bear. I'm telling you, I'm gonna speak this shit into existence. It will happen.
You're not gonna get a real live land shark.
I don't need. No comment. No comment. That terrified children as soon as they brought it out. That was the funniest part.
Yeah, it was.
Like, if you're gonna, I'm sure you and Chase have said, if you do the shark thing, get the fluffiest damn shark you can find.
Been saying it for years. I mean, you got to get the cartoon shark, like the one from when I was a kid. They had the Laugh Olympics on. I'm wait. You won't remember any of this, but you can go Google it. They had Laugh Olympics. There were 3 teams, and one of the teams had the shark on it. But I was like, find that shark. Just a laughy, cuddly, fluffy shark. He doesn't need to have big teeth. Just chill with the teeth. The kids are going to be scared of the teeth. You don't want kids scared of the damn mascot.
Yeah.
Kids need to love the mascot.
Agree.
I mean, I've said this story. I covered Auburn all those years. Auburn would have Aubie walking around in the baseball stadium, and little kids would be lined up on the concourse to go hug Aubie.
With Albert the Gator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've made multiple trips to Arkansas over the years, and the bookstore sells out of the what's he calling, Big Al or Big something, whatever his name. No, Big Al's Alabama. Big Red, I think, is the main mascot's name. They can't keep the stuffed animal in the bookstore. It's gone.
Yeah. I did want to ask you, can you explain to me why the Knicks are only a 2-point favorite tomorrow night?
Because they're not that good.
Neal,
they're not. They've had 2 really good.
Okay,
look, I love Brunson. I love Brunson. He's a great player.
Are you implying the East is that bad?
Yes.
The East is just that bad compared to the okay.
Whoever wins the West is winning the playoffs, the finals. Probably with ease. That applies to Minnesota, Denver, and Oklahoma City. All 3 of those teams would dispose of the Knicks quickly.
You think all 3 of them would? Okay.
Healthy, yes. All 3 of those teams would dispose of the Knicks. Knicks will have home court over the Pacers if they get there. I mean, I think the Knicks, I don't know. If you tell me the Pacers beat the Knicks, I'd totally buy it.
I do too.
But, I mean, Boston was without Tatum last night, and they got Hauser back, and they just made mincemeat of the Knicks. It was in Boston.
They just beat them.
Yeah, it was in Boston, and they were playing inspired for Tatum and stuff, and so maybe, they got to go to MSG tomorrow night and win, and they probably won't. The Knicks will probably win, but the Knicks they're a fun story. And again, I love Jalen Brunson. He might be one of my favorite non-Thunder players in the league. But that team's shaky. I mean, there's nothing about the Knicks when you watch them that you go dominant. I mean, in this year, regular season against Boston, Cleveland, and Oklahoma City, they went 0-10. I mean, there's nothing about them. There's nothing about them that screams elite. Nothing.
No, I mean, I get that. Honestly, I'm just kind of cheering for the Knicks just so I can see if I can bet the over-under on how many times the Spike Lee, Reggie Miller
Oh, God.
series is. Oh, dude, you know those commentators are going to have a field day with that shit.
Oh, and I'm sure that's what.
Because what did in the conference finals?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what ABC is cheering for is the Knicks in the finals and the finals back in Madison Square Garden and New York and all of that stuff.
And Spike Lee sitting front court.
But I did
want to ask.
I don't think
No, go ahead.
I don't think the Knicks would have a chance against Oklahoma City and Minnesota in a 2-3-2 format. I think when they left Oklahoma City or Minneapolis, I don't think they'd get back. I think the series would end in New York. And against Denver, as thin as the Nuggets are, they might take it to 6 games. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I did want to ask you, I don't know if it's really, I know you and Chase have kind of covered it every time they've gotten a kid from the portal. What do you think about what Ole Miss's basketball roster is going to look like next year so far? I mean,
I suspect they're not finished. It's okay. I'm a little.
Hope they're not.
I'm a little worried that as of this moment they don't have quite enough. They could use another guard who could absolutely fill up the basket. They're more athletic. They're going to be more physical than this past team. I think they have a chance to be considerably deeper. I
think they've got a really versatile lineup so far, as far as what they can throw at people.
I just don't know that. And I haven't seen the kid from France play, right? So he might end up being awesome. I don't know. European kids typically take a year to adjust.
I think he's only going to be here for a year.
Yeah. But I have a sense they're not done. They'll probably add another player, and I'm curious to see who that player is. There are going to be some guys that get out of the NBA draft and get back into the college free agent market where maybe they can land one of those guys and it changes things. He's a hell of a coach. He could put me and a handful of my neighbors on the court. I think if you gave him a year, he could figure out a way to get the best out of us. So he'll get the best out of that roster. I just, as of this moment, I wonder if it's not a player short.
Yeah, I think they're a dynamic guard away. And when I say that, I mean, I think they need a guard that can just, on top of just shooting it well, can just drive to the damn lane and go get you a bucket when you have to get one.
You need someone who can do what Sean Padula did. I mean, somebody who can go get you a bucket when you need a bucket. I mean, that's part of basketball, somebody who can just go score the damn ball. I mean, look around the league. Like Minnesota's got that with Edwards, and Indiana's got that with Halliburton, and the Thunder have that with Shea. And yeah, I mean, you need a dude who can go. The Knicks are in this position because of Jalen Brunson. You need a dude who can just go get a bucket. Absolutely.
Yeah, but all right, man. I'll go ahead and let you go. Appreciate you taking the call. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
I apologize to all the people that I've missed calls. I don't have the system to line calls up, nor do I have a producer who would have to answer those calls and that kind of thing. I guess Ole Miss has gotten started. I lost track of time. LSU leads South Carolina 2-1 in Columbia. That game is in the bottom of the second. Let me see if I can find the Ole Miss game on the ESPN app without having to log out and log in and all of that stuff. Chase seems to think Ole Miss would have to sweep this weekend against Auburn to have any chance of hosting. 2 out of 3 would put them at 16, which would at least put them on the host bubble. Hey, who do we have? Hey, who's this?
Yo, it's Grind.
Hey, what's up, Grind? How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Hanging in there enjoying the show. Except, or if I was reading a book, it would say, save all this Knicks slander. I'm enjoying the show stage, the Knicks slander. My goodness.
Well, I mean, by the way, Ole Miss and Auburn, no score, top of the second, one out, nobody on for the Tigers. So just getting started at Swayze. I mean, I think the Knicks are good, but I think there's some people in the media who've gone crazy with this this run that they're on and turning them into a bigger story than maybe they are. I mean, that Pistons series could have gone the other way.
It's the New York Knicks. Come on, man, the New York Knicks. They went down to Boston and just beat them boys up. Came back from 20-point deficit.
They did.
Twice.
They did. They did. They did. They absolutely did. They're a fun story. I'd bet the house on the 3 West teams against them in the finals.
Okay, but look though, because I like the Knicks. I've been a fan of the Knicks since the Carmelo days.
Yeah.
Dude, once we make it to the finals, we're a year early. We might even be 2 years early.
I buy that, sure. I completely buy that. I mean, look, I love Brunson. I love him. I love Brunson. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know.
Dog.
He's a dog. If you look up dog in the dictionary, is a big picture of him right there. There's a video. I don't know if you've seen it. I saw it the other day and watched it. It was wild. It's of when he was a kid. His dad, Rick, is just putting him through drills, putting him through shooting drills, and Rick will throw the ball into the backcourt, and he's making Jalen. This is like, I'd guess 10, 11-year-old Jalen Brunson. He's making him sprint to the ball, dribble it back, do all this stuff, take the shot, throws it back out. I mean, he's running him to death, and his mom's out there too watching, and at one point you can see him kind of look to his mom for help, and she goes, "Run faster." I mean, they drove. He's a dog. He earned it. He's everything. He's great. But in a series against OK, like if I'm the Knicks and I'm wanting to make the finals,
no, they would be overmatched. They'd be overmatched.
I would be cheering. I would be cheering hard. I would be cheering hard for Denver if I were them. I would want no part of the Wolves or the Thunder and all of those guards that those two teams can throw at you on the perimeter. I would at least want to take my shot against Christian Brown, who's a better defender than he gets credit for, but he's not Lou Dort or Jaden McDaniels. I mean, man, if the Knicks have to play the Thunder or the Wolves in a finals, those two teams are going to throw big. They're going to wear him out.
Yeah, they too long for him. Honestly, as you know, like I said, as a Knicks fan, and I hate him. The team I'm about to bring up, I hate him. But the best matchup for him got eliminated either last night or a couple nights ago with the Warriors. That was the best matchup left in the West.
Oh,
the Knicks in the finals.
Oh, I know. That was I wanted Golden State to beat Minnesota so bad. I wanted the Warriors. I know you're going to get Steph, and Steph's going to make some shots from half court, and everybody's going to go, "Ooh, Steph!" But the Warriors are small. I mean, the Thunder were going to wear them out.
They are.
The Thunder were going to wear them out. It wasn't even going to be a series.
Yeah.
Holmgren and Hartenstein and Jalen Williams were going to destroy them. And I worry about Minnesota. Minnesota's big, and Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle's playing well. And I know Ant's got the ankle, but he's a beast.
Yes, he is a beast. That's what I try to tell one of guys that I training right now. He's a big Steph guy and Warriors fan, and I was just like, dude, Anthony Edwards, because he was like, if Steph would have been healthy, we would have won the series. I'm like, man, Anthony Edwards is just a beast. I can't give you that one.
Yeah, and unlike the Thunder, who can throw a bunch of bodies at Ant, Golden State doesn't really have anybody to guard him, and so he doesn't get pushed. Like the Thunder is going to throw Dort at him if they get there. They got to get there. They got to win another game. But they're going to throw Dort at him. They're going to throw Caruso at him. They're going to throw Cason Wallace at him. They can mix Shea in there. If they want to go big, they can put Jalen Williams on him. Aaron Wiggins can guard him. The Thunder don't get credit for how deep they are as defenders.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they have worn
know.
worn Jokic out, and Jokic has still had 2 phenomenal games because he's the best player in the world.
Even though I hate to agree with you, I'm gonna have to get to Jokic. He is the best player in the world right now.
He is.
I have to say that. I need your take before I move on to football. Oh, what you about to say?
That shot he made with 1:39 to go the other night over Chet Holmgren, who could not have guarded him any better in that spot. That shot he made, he played the whole second half. To make that shot was, when it went in, Carson and I looked at each other like, oh, God. Like, how? I mean, we're going to remember that shot forever. And then, thank God, the Thunder ran a good possession, and Jalen Williams made the 3, and then we got to stop, and Shea made the 3. And I mean, thank goodness, because I'm glad
that
that shot was going to haunt me for years.
That just ended up being, yeah, you guys didn't deserve that. After the war, like, Thunder fans have been through a lot. Is just in the past, I guess 10, 15 years since LeBron went to the Heat, Thunder fans have been through a lot. So, you guys don't need any more pain. But I need your opinion on 2 of my NBA hot takes that the guy that I work with kills me on, and then my brother kills me on, and basically my whole friend group kills me on.
All right.
And so the one that my brother then kills me on is, this is okay. I want you to get in your mind the number 1 pick in the draft. What kind of player are you expecting to have in the future if you draft this guy number 1 overall? Okay. Okay. And with that in mind, just thinking about, how if you're the number 1 pick, franchises are expecting you to be the guy, lean on you, super max deal guy in the future, all types of stuff, right?
Yep.
I said Andrew Wiggins is a bust.
Andrew Wiggins?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bust.
Thank you, bro. Why don't see that? That's one of my hot takes that I get killed for in the chat.
No,
I get killed for saying Andrew Wiggins is a bust.
Yeah, he's a bust.
And they always say that he's not the guy. I forget the guy, Kwame Brown. They're like, no, Kwame Brown is a bust.
Yeah,
I'm saying, dude, bro.
If you go 1-1, you can't just be a serviceable player. That you got to be more than that. You got to be a dog. You got to be Edwards. You got to be Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, he's a bust. I mean, he's not the only guy that's ever been 1-1 that's a bust, but yeah, he's a bust. I mean, he's going to have an NBA career because he's got a skill set, but I mean, look, the Warriors moved him. I mean, they gave up on him. I mean, he's been moved a couple of times now. I mean, yeah, no, he's not an all-star caliber player.
Thank you. And the other one, I know you're gonna kill me on this one, and I'm on this ledge, I'm on this hill. It is what it is, because people, for whatever reason, when KD joined the Warriors, people rose Steph to a level that he shouldn't be on, in my opinion. But I always say, any man out here, if we wanted to, we could have been Steph Curry. We just chose not to. But nobody could be LeBron.
I mean,
nobody could be LeBron. God didn't make nobody 6'9", 260. But I just said, had any of us just said, you know what, I'm just forget work, forget anything. I'm just gonna go shoot threes. I'm gonna work on my 3-pointer all day for the rest of my life, every day, dedication, get in shape, run. We could be Steph Curry. We could have been. You don't have to be super tall. You don't have to be crazy athletic. You just got to be able to shake a little bit, be a little quick, work on your agility, make sure your knees good, but you got to shoot. Work on your 3, get your 3 popping, you're good. And people kill me because for whatever reason they say LeBron is on. I mean, Steph and LeBron are same tier players, and I'm not having none of that.
No. Steph and LeBron are not the same tier. I can't do the Steph thing. Because, look, I still have PTSD. It's been 9 years. There's a chance that maybe in the next few weeks that it goes away. But that Game 6 and Game 7 and against the Warriors in 2016 still haunts me. It was mostly Clay, but Steph made some shots too. Those were heartbreakers, man.
Yeah.
Daggers. We had a 9-point fourth quarter lead. We were headed to the finals. And then Clay.
And see, my thing is, I was arguing with a Warriors fan, and I told because his whole thing because first off he was poo-pooing LeBron, and I said, how you gonna poo-poo LeBron when he the reason y'all got these rings? LeBron has the greatest feat of all time. He was down 3-1 against the best team in NBA history, and out of that they had to cry on the phone together and call KD. That's what I told him, and he for whatever reason he just can't accept that fact.
It's true. I mean, the LeBron.
That's all I'm saying.
The LeBron thing that I can't stand, and
he don't get like that ring. I know people kill LeBron, but that ring should mean so much. You can kill him for the Dallas series, but you down 3-1 with against. I know people gonna say the Michael Jordan team, but when you look at the facts, that Warriors team won more games than the Michael Jordan team.
Yep.
And he was down 3-1 and did the thing, man.
That team was down 3-1 to the Thunder too, and KD wussed out.
Exactly, dude, and that is when I forever said KD can't be my favorite player anymore. Like, no, hell no.
You have no idea. I mean, and you know, and if
we talked about that before.
If the Warriors,
oh my goodness,
if the Warriors win the title, KD doesn't go there. He would have been he. I think that's kind of been admitted, even that the fact that Draymond Green gets on the phone literally before he leaves the arena that night, calling Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was like, "Okay, we got to bring you here to win titles and whatnot," and completely upset the apple cart. I'm not the LeBron guy. Like I think Jordan's better than LeBron. But the one thing about LeBron that people hold against him is like that first finals appearance where he got swept by the Spurs. I'm like, guys, his second best player was Mo Williams.
But he had Eric Snow and Vasquez and Bergeau on the court.
Yeah, I mean that was going against Duncan, Parker,
that was going against Tim, yes,
Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard.
That's are you talking about the first San Antonio team?
Yeah. I mean that was
the first one. When he was a baby and he took Cleveland. That's when they had
was that Robinson?
They had Tony, Tim, and Manu. I don't think they had Robinson. I know they had they had Barry. Oh, I forgot his name, but he was good with the three. Oh my gosh, his first name was it was Rick Barry. I want to say they had Rick Barry. They had Bruce Bowen. They had Michael Finley. That was deep. Going just LeBron. They was a deep team that year. Because you talking about the Kawhi Spurs when he was that was with the Ray Allen Heat when he played against them.
This was 2000.
When he was with the Heat.
2008. Is that what that was?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
He got swept. He got swept by that Spurs team.
Okay, so they won in 2007. So let's see, 2007 championship. That was LeBron's first trip to the finals. Yeah, they okay. Let's see that team. Tony Parker was Finals MVP. Let me pull up a box from Game 4.
Well, why are you doing that?
So that was Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Fabricio Alberto, Michael Finley, Bruce Bowen, Jacques Vaughn, Manu Ginobili, Robert Horry played on that team. Brent Barry played on that team. Cleveland.
Yep.
Cleveland that game was Alexander Pavlovich Zadrunas.
It's gonna be so bad.
Zadrunas Ilgauskas. Daniel Gibson played 43 minutes in that game. Drew Gooden played 27 minutes. LeBron, Anderson Varejao, Eric Snow, Danielle Marshall played 18 minutes in that game. Shannon Brown played 1 second, doesn't count. And Damon Jones played 19 and a half minutes in that game, Game 4. A 83-82 Spurs win to win the title.
He got swept, but I want to say every game was close. And coming up in the future, scale of 1 to 10, as a Thunders fan, how worried are you about San Antonio?
If the league keeps fixing drafts for them, like 8 or 9. I mean, I'll tell you what, I was nervous. I was like, they're gonna fix this thing and give them flag. I was about to. I was about to.
Wendy and Fox.
I know, and I love Castle. I was like, oh, I'm getting worried. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, like an 8, they're a great organization. They do everything right. They always have.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, in so many ways, the Thunder are the Spurs. I mean, everything. Pretty much everybody who's anybody inside the Thunder front office once worked in San Antonio. I mean, it's basically a carbon copy.
I mean,
that's why when people, it's why when people do this whole, are the Spurs going to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo? It's like, no, of course not. No, that's dumb. No.
Why would you do that? You got Wendy.
Yeah. Why would you change the organic nature of your team building? It's like when people do the thing about the Thunder, where the Thunder should package all their picks and get Giannis. I'm like, you haven't been following along, have you? I mean, the Thunder do the deal where they play all these people and they instill trust in them. And then sure enough, like the other night in game 4, when fourth quarter, who's on the court? It's Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, and I think Jalen Williams. That's what's on the floor. They're playing their guys. And then the other night, they go right back to Dort when everybody in Thunder world was like, Dort can't play. Dort's got to go. Daignault goes right back to Dort, and he rewards him with 3 big buckets. And, man, he doesn't get credit for how well he played Jamal Murray in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was on him. Yeah. He was on him. I mean, that's what they do. So why would you trade a bunch of those pieces for Giannis?
Yeah.
You're going to trade those pieces for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Why? What would that? Who would, so that you can stunt Chet Holmgren's development? That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. And I'm not a Hawks fan, and I'm not sure what they need. But if the mock draft holds up and they get Walter Clayton Jr. and Danny Wolf, I'm kind of in on that. That's like doubling down on offense, and I'll be cool watching that. Walter Clayton and Trae Young in the same backcourt.
Yeah, the Trae Young thing over the course of the next year or two, something's got to give. But they've got to surround him with other people who can score.
They do. And the last thing before I let you go, man, I don't know why I did it, Neal. But you know what I done did?
What's that?
I done put some money on the future for the Texas A&M Aggies to make the CFP.
Ooh. Wow.
I didn't go crazy. I did not go crazy. I mean, oh my gosh. I did not go crazy.
All I can say is this. Year after year after year after year, your boy has inhaled the Texas A&M smoke, and I've gotten high as a kite. And in the summer, man, that high feels so good. You're like, you convince yourself that, yep, you're the smartest guy in the room, Neal. Those Aggies, deep roster, talent everywhere. They're going to win 10, 11 games. You're going to look so smart. And then you know what happens? What happens every single time, Grind? They kick off
84
and they lose 4 games, and you're the dumbest sumbitch on the earth. And you're like, I have no one to blame for this but me. So all I can say to you is enjoy your ticket. I'm not taking that bait. I've taken it too many times in a row. Not this time. No, sir.
But they have, okay, look. This is my thinking.
I don't care. There's nothing you can say to me that's going to change my mind. Nope. I'm not. I mean, I'm going to let you talk, but I'm just telling you the answer to your question is no.
Marcel Reed can, at best, be the third, maybe fourth, or the fourth best quarterback in the SEC, but his floor is like the 6th. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he may not be as good as Arch, Lagway, and Lenore, but he might be. Is he a tad bit better than Austin Simmons?
Sure.
Well, is he a little bit
Maybe.
worse?
I don't know.
You know,
I know what uniform he's wearing, and they're gonna break out those weird cheerleaders, and they're gonna have those Friday night.
It's gonna get all fucked up when they start swaying. My tickets don't go. Once they start swaying, that's when it goes on.
They're gonna
they can just be a little normal.
They're gonna do all that goofy stuff, man. They're gonna do all that goofy stuff on Friday night before, and say he's gonna say all the goofy things about it's just, and then it's just gonna go to hell. It just is.
Dang it, Neal. Dang, you know what? It feels like for everybody that wants to play for A&M Future, before you do that, they always have the midnight yell before the first game. Just go to the midnight yell. And if you walk out of midnight yell saying, yeah, I'm gonna, okay. But more than likely, because you know what, you're right, man. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, it's just a few bucks. It'll be okay, but you'll learn your lesson. I mean, I'm not doing it again. I've done it 2 years in a row, and I'm not doing it this time. If this is the year that A&M goes on some magic carpet ride, I'll just go, hey, how about that? There will be no part of me that looks back and goes, man, I wish I'd kind of given that hype thing one more time. Nope, I'm out. No more. Hey, here's a stat for you from 2014 to 2017, the Golden State Warriors played 123 games at home. How many do you think they won?
Wow. Okay. 100. You said out of 123?
Out of 123, how many home games did they win?
And that was with KD?
One of those years was KD. It was 2014 through 2017, so they had KD for the last year.
For the last year, okay. I would say
this can't be right.
I would say 98.
According to Tupelo Rab here, 114-9.
What?
I know. I'll have to go see that, but that's what he says.
Wow.
114-9.
Hey, okay, before I let you go, I'm gonna hang up, but I want to get your thoughts on it. SSU at their ACC meetings or whatever, they seem pretty, happy about the new deal. They're getting, bragging about how they're getting the extra $18 million more than Boston College and Syracuse, and I guess that's great for them and everything. I'm not, I guess that that's what they need to stay with the SEC and Big Ten. But according to I found two things interesting from the AD. He said that everything can start being disputed in 2030, but as of right now, we're still into 2036. So I hear it's 2036. But the other thing I thought that was interesting, I want you to get your thought on, is that they asked him about NIL contracts and buyouts, and then he said he's never seen an NIL contract. So, I want to get your thoughts on that, and I appreciate you taking my call and just doing this for us, and we appreciate the content, man. Best channel on YouTube. If you're out there listening and you don't subscribe to Rebel Grove, subscribe and give these boys a little change, man, because they deserve it 100%. So I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Grind. Appreciate the kind words very much. Yeah, I mean, everyone's doing this NIL thing. They're trying to keep plausible deniability so they don't have to talk about it. They're letting collectives handle it and keeping it out of house, and they're going to have to bring that stuff in-house, and I don't know that I buy that. And as for conference realignment stuff, I mean, right now, both the Big Ten and the SEC seem pretty intent on seeing what this next round of TV contracts look like before they expand. And I think the TV people everyone's playing these big games of chicken right now about 9 games and how much more and what the playoff thing is going to look like and all of that stuff. So still a lot of moving pieces. And I think I've heard that the people at Florida State still believe if they pushed hard enough, they could get out. That right now, maybe they're just waiting to see what their situation is. I don't think in the last cycle they had an invitation ultimately to go to the Big Ten or the SEC. So we'll see. Ole Miss and Auburn, bottom of the third, still no score at Swayze. Ole Miss has a man out and nobody on. Chase Parham will have coverage of that at rebelgrove.com. The series they play tomorrow night at 7. I keep thinking today's a Friday, but today's a Thursday. Tomorrow night at 7, and then Saturday afternoon in the series finale. SEC tournament starts on Tuesday in Hoover. Ole Miss is trying to avoid the Tuesday games. 9 through 16 play on Tuesday. 5 through 8 play the 4 winners from Tuesday on Wednesday, and then the quarterfinals. There's 2 quarterfinals on Thursday, 2 quarterfinals on Friday, 2 quarterfinals on Saturday, the final on Sunday, and then of course the tournament comes out a week from Monday. So we'll have all of that kind of coverage to you. Tupelo's backing it up with the numbers. So I'll take about Golden State. I'll take his word for it. We'll have coverage of that this weekend and more. So thanks to everyone for calling. I appreciate it. I'm about to get myself ready for Thunder and Nuggets Game 6. Have a nervous breakdown again this evening, and we'll keep up with the college. We'll keep up with the SEC baseball weekend as well. Some NHL going on. We'll talk about all of that stuff and more on Monday when we get back together for another week of podcasts here at MPW. Until next time, you guys take care.